Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. Today we're going to take a bit of a break from the usual anime and manga content and talk about a personal favorite topic of mine, long-running epic fantasy series. Before we get started, please like and subscribe, it really does help the channel. The appeal of a long-running series is having the opportunity to completely immerse yourself in a new universe. The drawback, of course, is having to wait years between the release of novels. That and the massive time investment. Epic fantasy isn't something that can be read in an afternoon. My favorite epic fantasy series is The Wheel of Time. The series hooks you in right away with an opening of pure poetry, setting the tone for the epic fantasy you're about to be sucked into. The Wheel of Time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. In one age, called the Third Age by some, an age yet to come, an age long past, a wind arose in the mountains of mist. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel, but it was a beginning. I started reading it in March of 1998, back when only 7 of the books had been published. I got so sucked into the series that in the middle of book 6, I stepped out during a particularly cold September morning and wondered why I was freezing. You see, in the books, the Dark One was touching the world, straining to free himself from his prison, and there was an unnatural heat wave across the land. Fall was months late, and it was still sweltering going into winter. So why was I cold when I stepped outside? I had to wait until October for Book 8, which was what many in the fandom refer to as the beginning of the slog. Over the course of the next 7 years, only 3 more books were released, and though a lot happened, the story was nowhere near finished. And then, with the series unfinished at 11 books, Robert Jordan lost his battle with cancer. I'm sure a lot of you are feeling empathy right now, especially with the passing of Miura Kentaro last spring. Robert Jordan's widow was also his editor, and upon her husband's wish, she searched for someone to complete the series. She chose the young, upcoming author, Brandon Sanderson. The two of them met, and after numerous rewrites and a bit of a rough start, the series continued with 3 more books, completing in 2013 with The Memory of Light, the 14th and final book. In his video about anime endings, Gigguk talks about how he felt a sense of awe, jubilation, sadness, and emptiness at the ending of Code Geass. I felt all of that as well when I read the last line in The Wheel of Time. This series had been a massive part of my life for 15 years, and it was finally complete. Even now, years later, I still get choked up thinking about the last line in the books. The scale of this series was unlike anything I'd ever encountered before. Just saying there are 14 books doesn't do it justice. All told, the series has 4.3 million words. For comparison, the 7 Harry Potter books clock in at barely over 1 million words, while The Lord of the Rings has just under 575,000. Discworld comes close to The Wheel of Time at just over 3.5 million words, but that's split between 40 novels. Dresden Files is currently at 17 books with more planned, and is hovering around 2.1 million words. And while Dresden Files is a fun series that you should absolutely read, it doesn't compare to The Wheel of Time. At only half the length, how can it? The Wheel of Time is a sprawling epic spanning an entire world, with a cast of thousands. All told, there's 147 unique points of view in this series, with 20 of them having at least 10 chapters from their perspective. It's not a book series so much as a glimpse at an entire world. And with the exception of flashbacks in the prequel novel, the entire series takes place over the course of just 2.5 years. While many in the anime community might not be familiar with word count as a measuring stick for novel length, let me put it in terms you can relate to. An average light novel translated to English has a word count of around 40 to 60,000 words, which means The Wheel of Time is the same length as about 80 light novels. To put it another way, if you wanted to listen to the entire series on audio, it would take you just shy of 30 hours. Just kidding, that's only for the first book. The entire series would take you 17.5 days. Most single-core anime based on a light novel series usually covers the first 3 books or around 120,000 words. So how many core of anime would it take to cover The Wheel of Time? Based on my estimate, we're looking at about 36. That's 36 core of a single anime, or over 430 episodes. And these wouldn't be One Piece episodes, where they only translate a single manga chapter, so you only have about 12 minutes of new content smashed between 13 minutes of opening, ending, previously on, and previews for the next episode. These would be over 400 episodes as dense as Mushoku Tensei, with every episode full of content and story. Minus the Cursed Child, of course. So are there any anime out there that can be compared to the Wheel of Time? The only one that comes to mind as far as story structure is the Index series. The first season of both Railgun and Index start in July, while Index Season 3 ends in October of the same year. Which means, not counting the movies, specials, or OVAs, you have 159 episodes of anime all taking place within just 4 months. 3 double core seasons of both Index and Railgun, as well as a single core season of Accelerator, all taking place in a rather short period of time. But not only do you have a ton of events happening in a short period of time, you also have a massive cast of characters, with every arc introducing new ones. We get to see the interactions between Last Order and Toma, backstories on characters like Misaki or Frenda, and entire plotlines from the point of view of characters like Saturn or Hamazura. We even get to see Accelerator take Index out for a light snack. It can be a hard ask to get someone into a long-running series. It's a massive time investment to start such a huge undertaking. For those of us in the know, One Piece and Index are both worth the time we spent getting to know these characters. But trying to convince a newcomer to read a manga with over 1,000 chapters, or a light novel series with almost 50 volumes can be daunting, especially while trying to avoid spoilers. All you can offer are vague promises of how good the plot and setting are, how much they'll fall in love with the characters, or how truly epic the series is. To a fan of those respective series, all you have to say is something like, "Kneel or you will be knelt." Or, "Seeing him off with a push on the back is the sign of a good woman." Or, "Say you want to live," to evoke an emotional response. A lot of anime fans equate long-running series to shows like Dragon Ball Z or Inuyasha. I assure you, most are not that way. The problem with Dragon Ball Z is the fights got extended to last multiple episodes, so the manga could get ahead. It's the same reason One Piece went from 3 chapters of the manga per episode to only 1, or Bleach and Naruto started having tons of filler. But those of us who read the manga can attest that One Piece doesn't stall out, and Bleach doesn't have filler. Some stories can be told quickly, while others require a lot of time to tell. This has always been my main problem with Inuyasha. Kagome breaks the gem into 100 pieces. She and Inuyasha then travel to find a monster, beat the monster, and collect the pieces of the Shikon Jewel. Repeat for 160 episodes. There is no need for the show to be that long. Inuyasha could easily have been 26 or even a 52-episode anime. However, One Piece is the story of a crew of pirates, each trying to accomplish their goals while helping their friends out. And each of their goals are lofty. Make a map of the entire world, uncover the secret history of glyphs hidden across the globe, become the world's greatest doctor or swordsman, find a sea with every fish in the world, or become the king of the pirates. Each of these are goals that take a long time to accomplish, with a lot of time and effort dedicated to them. Combine each of these goals with a real, breathing world with a cast of thousands, geographically unique islands, each with its own form of government and history, as well as a world history that the ruling powers are trying to keep secret, and you have a story that cannot be told in just a few chapters. The biggest complaint about a long series is that at times, it seems slow. And for those who make that complaint, I must tell them, you are absolutely right. At times, the series seems to be bogging down in details. But I say that epic moments cannot happen in short-form stories. An epic moment can only come after a ton of build-up, or rising action as it's called in literary studies. Beowulf ripping off the arm of Grendel is only epic because we've built up Grendel as an unstoppable killing machine for almost 1,000 lines of poetry. Asuka fighting the 9 White Evas took 2 movies and an entire season. Ichigo going Bankai took over 60 episodes, while Goku going Super Saiyan took almost 100. And yes, there are some parts of Wheel of Time where the plot doesn't seem to be moving that fast. But every moment is worth it, with each book having its own epic moments and conclusions. Many of these moments are on par with moments like this. United! Or this. Or even this. And when you finally get to that ending, the months you spent reading it will all seem to have passed in the blink of an eye. Thanks for tuning in. With the release of the TV show on Amazon, I've been wanting to talk about Wheel of Time. I still prefer the books, but I'm happy one of my favorite series finally got an adaptation. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, there's a link to her Fiverr page below. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you all again next time.